This is Phase Ed Music.
With you, always.
Hey man, y'all sure y'all don't want to like burn one first, man?
Why did you say that name?
You hear about the cable?
What is thy bidding, my master?
Ask God.
Forever. Take two in this mother. What it do, y'all? What a night. Don't play with me, man. Don't play with me. You better stop playing with me, man. Don't play with me, bro. What do you mean you don't know? You should know. Fix this.
Come on, man.
See, look, now he's trolling y'all. Like, I swear he's trolling y'all. I swear he's trolling.
I'm totally not.
Now I hear you. Stop trolling. He's trolling, man. He's
Okay.
trolling.
All right, I'll stop.
It's me. You're very, very frustrated, Freddie Roy, and this is Lavis B, and we are the late Mayne Authority. We may not come when you want us, but we be right on time, damn it. Oh my goodness. Like, I don't even, wow. We're supposed to start this show like an hour ago. What is going on in the world? I don't know.
Moon or something.
You know what I blame? You know what I blame? I blame Windows.
I blame Windows.
I blame
too.
Windows.
All of that was
Windows and they damn updates and they reconfigurations and all of these changes and everything else. But you know what? We still standing. We still strong.
Yes. A main book.
Yes, that.
We get a main book.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, it don't make no damn sense. Ah,
Maple.
yes.
The Maple. The Maple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just conglomerize and take over half of everything.
Yeah, man. It's just
Mangle.
Wow.
Mangle next. They all have to. That sounds really aggressive, but it's all right. You can use Mangle to find out any information you need on the internet. If you won't it up.
I don't know
No
what
more
he. Yep. I don't know what he's talking about.
Whatever.
I don't know. But you know what I do know? I do know that this Spider-Man No Way Home won't stop.
No, it won't, man.
It won't stop.
All
They won't
year.
let it go. They won't let it go, man. They are everybody seems so convinced that there are 3 Spider-Men in this movie. You had the trailer, drop, and then everybody's like, well, if you go look at the Brazilian trailer, you can see Lizard's head jerking to the side like somebody just gave him a 2-piece, except there's nobody there to give him the 2-piece.
Okay.
Or is it though? I mean, like everybody, I'm gonna tell you like this, and I didn't think about this until just right now.
Okay.
But we should have just done a random ass No Way Home theory trailer breakdown video and got us a cool 100,000 views, because that is popping off online right about now.
Yeah, it is. Man,
Like
that
boys is cashing in on that Spider-Man. They trying to get it in, man. And everybody keeps saying it, but I don't know, man. Something tells me I wouldn't put it past White Suge to hit us with a curveball.
I wouldn't put it past him either.
Because here we are, we like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Toby, it's gonna be Andrew. We already know what it is, but what if it ain't? What if it's Matt Murdock? What if it's Venom? What you think, man?
I think I want to actually lean more toward it being Daredevil, because I'm still holding on to that anchor that says that Toby and Andrew ain't in that movie, man. I'm thinking all the misdirects. I'm thinking about back when they did Endgame and they recorded all 3 different endings. I'm thinking about all the Homecomings and all the Far From Homes, so they did 3 different endings just so your boy Tom wouldn't spoil anything.
Right.
So I remember back, what was it? Which one was it? Infinity War, where they put the Hulk in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And no Hulk at all in that movie.
Facts.
A lot of misleads, man. A lot of things hard to trust. And
That's what I'm saying.
Deep fakes too.
Yes.
You see deep fakes out there.
Yes.
People and these fans out here making all this leaked product and stuff. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I'm doubling down on that, and I want to say I think it's Daredevil.
See, the more I think about it, the more I start to come around to that side. I'm not saying that I'm switching it up, because I still do think they are in the movie, but I just find it real interesting how everything seems to be pointing in that direction. Like everything. And the thing that I find to be really telling about it is you have like your heavy spoilers, your big boys out there that have these connections directly to Marvel that seem so comfortable with. Wait a minute. Felicity with the $5 donation. Appreciate it. Say, Crouching Maynes Hidden Ninjas. I finally hear y'all so I can say it. Maybe y'all's new motto should be lateness is greatness. Stay blurty, my friends.
Hey. Maybe.
Put that on a t-shirt, man.
Late. I will though. But we're not always late.
No, not always. Not always at all.
We always right on time. Fashion be late.
If it wasn't for the fact that I have I'm gonna be modest and say about 2 or 3 bottles of the Lavish Mayne purple drink, but it's the weekend. It's the whole reason we did this on the weekend. Because I want to make sure we hear and we write.
Exactly. And here we are. Right here.
Right here. Where we need to be at the time we need to be.
At the main authority. There is no time here in the main authority.
Tell them one more time, please.
There is no time here in the main authority.
That part.
No time but the best time.
The best time. Indeed.
Only time allowed.
Speaking of the best time, so let me ask you this. Yes. What do you think would be the best time if let's just say Andrew and the homie Toby are in the movie? When or what would you think would be the best time to make that reveal? You think they should wait all the way up until the movie? Or do you think right before the movie drops, they should tease and give people the confirmation that most people are expecting already?
For me, just wait till the movie drop. I would just and if they can't help it and they need to give some kind of tease, don't let it be blatantly Andrew or Toby.
Gotcha.
Let it be like you see the MJ scene. Let's just say, because who knows? Let's just say in the MJ scene where you see Tom Holland trying to save her, his hand gets right there, and then boom, she gets swooped by somebody else.
Yeah.
And of course, that somebody else would be another Spider-Man. Of course, it would be like Andrew for trying to save Gwen Stacy, blah, 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 blah. But you just maybe show another web or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that could be a few different things. That could still end up to be Venom.
Yep.
That, or it could be one of the other 2 Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, wait till the movie, man. Like if you're going to go this long and just keep teasing, wait till the movie, because I swear, I think if you give any kind of inkling that these people who are out here speculating are right, if we're right, and you give that away before the movie, I'm not gonna be like it's gonna like hurt it. I can't say it's gonna hurt it after all this time. People are still gonna go see it, but I feel like the dynamic in which you could actually pull more people would be a little. It'd be a little tainted. It'd be a little tainted. At this point, I'd rather wait, because I just want to go sit and see. And if I'm disappointed because they're not, I'm not disappointed because they're not in the movie. If they're not in the movie, because I really don't think they are anyway. So
that's what's up. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that though. I'm like, if at this point we've gotten this close to the movie, so at this point, why even reveal it? Like, keep playing it the way you've been playing it. Let the movie be what it is. Because the thing that we continue to forget is that we knee deep in this, man. We live and breathe this nerdy ish, so we know about the leaks and the rumors. But we represent, what percentage do you think are really hardcore into MCU like that in terms of MCU overall viewership? How many of them you think is hardcore sweaties, percentage wise?
Of our viewers, or
no, I'm saying in general of all of the viewers that watch Marvel stuff.
Got you.
What percentage of that do you think is hardcore into this Mayne?
I would say like sweaty wise,
right? To
be honest, because it's not a whole bunch to begin with. Like a lot of this is new people, so
right.
In our caliber, I would say like 20%, to be honest.
Bingo.
That's what I feel.
So bingo. That's exactly my point. Even though we sitting here like, come on, bro, we already know they in the movie, just going ahead and say it. There's still 80% of their viewership out there that has no clue, that are not going and checking the heavy spoilers videos on YouTube. They're not coming to check the main authority to find out what our two bum asses got to say about it. They just out here watching and waiting and anticipating and talking about what they are presented on screen in commercials and on trailers online. And that group of people are going to be shocked if they are actually in the movie, because that means about 80% of the people going to see that movie will not have seen this coming. So that's the reason that I think they're still holding out, giving that little last nugget to people, is because, and I saw somebody post it in the chat, that word of mouth is real. It is definitely real. And I think they'll lean on that, especially going up against the Matrix, because that's getting ready to drop right around the same time. And the one advantage that I'm going to be, or the one thing that I'm going to be paying real close attention to with this, is how the Matrix does in comparison, not just in comparison to Spider-Man, but the fact that factored in that you're going to get to watch Matrix at home or in the theaters. I want to see which one, and I'm not talking about, I don't care about the box office numbers necessarily. I'm more about which one is going to have more buzz behind it.
Right.
Like, I want to see which one is going to have more hype once they both drop. Which one are more people going to be talking about?
I don't know. Okay, because I would say one thing that the Matrix definitely has going for it, besides the fandom that it has, is the fact that it's dropping on the 22nd.
Right.
So that makes it a good home holiday movie to be at the crib, just chilling with your peoples.
Facts.
You got Spider-Man's exclusively going to be in the theaters, but that's dropping the 17th. So you'll have mostly the weekend. The weekend is really what it's going to be telling,
right,
for Spider-Man versus the Matrix. And I'm really going to say that it would make better sense that if Spider-Man did better than the Matrix on the opening weekend, just for the simple fact of Christmas.
Yeah.
Just for that. I would say it would probably do better at home than it will do in the theaters around that time.
Well, I think number one, Spider-Man is probably gonna like mop the floor with the Matrix.
Totally.
Simply because Spider-Man is an all accessible movie. Like, I don't care whether you're 5 or 55, you know who Spider-Man is, you connect with that character on some level, and if nothing else, you got some child in your life somewhere that you wouldn't mind tagging along to go see the Spider-Man movie. Matrix is a little bit different. Like, people know what the Matrix is, people down with the Matrix, but my child is not geeked to go see the Matrix. Right. So, and the fact that that's going to drop, And The Matrix is a movie, to be honest, that is, I won't say better suited, but it's one of those movies that's like perfectly suited, I think, for a home release. Because I guarantee you that's probably going to be the most paused and rewound movie on release ever.
That's what I'm saying.
Because there's going to be some, hold on, what did he say?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what did they just do? No, I got to go back and see that again. Hold on, that, I ain't even catch that. It's going to be a lot of that in that movie, man. So I think, you know, commercially, Spider-Man's going to be better, but I'm when I say buzz and hype, like which one of these movies is going to come out and have more people that are like really into the shit going, oh wow, they went there with it. Because I think for those of us who are like knee deep in it, right? The Spider-Man thing, like, say they kill off Tom Holland. How big of a shock is that really?
I think it'll be a big shock, to be completely honest. I don't think anybody's really expecting Tom Holland to die at all. I know a lot of the speculation is, and spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so mute it right now if you don't want to hear what I'm about to say. But a lot of the speculation is Aunt May dies.
Yep.
And secondly, Ned Leeds is questionable.
Yeah.
We don't believe that MJ and or the Tom Holland Spider-Man will die.
Gotcha.
So I will have to think he lives. All right, unmute.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
So my question then is, let's just, no spoilers. Let's think strictly the title. No Way Home. No Way Home for who? Now, if you look at all of the other Spider-Man movies in the MCU era, you have Spider-Man Homecoming. A homecoming for who? For Spider-Man. Right. Spider-Man Far From Home. Who was far from home? Spider-Man. No Way Home for who? Spider-Man. So
maybe.
Now that doesn't mean necessarily that my homie's gonna clock out. Don't mean he gotta clock out. He just might be making a lateral change in position. Like he might just be moving to a new permanent address. And that's where I think that's the thing that's gonna be interesting for me, is to see how they play it, because there's got to be stakes in this movie. They're already setting it up, talking about how emotional the movie's supposed to be. They're comparing it to Endgame for the Spider-Verse. And with stakes and with hype like that, you've got to have either multiple deaths or you have to have a conclusion that fundamentally changes everything going forward. So
I don't know. So
bro.
I'm just saying on the No Way Home, it seems like it'd be more for the villains, because all of them are dead. So the fact that they're back, it's like if you were to send them back where they came from, it's like, you know, there's no way home. They're going to end up dead.
Yep, I feel you.
That's the speculation around that part.
No, go ahead.
With the whole address change thing, so I would still lean onto that if it wasn't for the fact that at least, and I know at least starting in January, it'll definitely be in full swing. They have that merger going on for the next 5 years with Sony and them. So, and they have to make a Spider-Man movie every 2 years, regardless. So in the next couple of years, we'll see what they're going to do with the live action. And I think in the meantime, we're going to have to deal with what they're doing with the freshman year release and having to go through Tom Holland's prequel, pretty much.
Right.
Is what that. So, depending on how they end this one, and if you want me to speculate on it, I would say that you would definitely have to end it on Venom either getting super close to wherever Spider-Man is, or both. You end that with, because you see J. Jonah Jameson in it, and he's all talking ish about Spider-Man, Peter Parker, blah 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 blah. It would be the perfect setup for at the end of the movie. Either some of the spell worked, so not everybody remembers Peter Parker Spider-Man, or they still do remember Peter Parker Spider-Man, and just because of that, even though debunked or not, it kind of is a way that they could tease how Peter Parker is always able to get pictures of Spider-Man, give him a job at the Daily Bugle, and then who else do you give a job at the Daily Bugle? Brock.
Yeah,
give Eddie Brock his job back at the Daily Bugle, and then you can reboot it where He's in college, and he's working for the Daily Bugle, and then you do the whole Venom thing.
Right.
So
I see.
You do a lot of that in post-credit scenes. It doesn't have to end completely with that much detail.
Right. No, I totally get you. For me, like, I think the No Way Home thing applying to the villains is like the obvious answer. And it's like, kind of like, again, the No Way, the way kind of like with Homecoming, the obvious thing was, oh, well, they're kids and they're having a homecoming. And it was like, okay, but it was more meta than that. And it's like, I feel like it might be something similar going on, because here's the other thing. Here's the other thing I was thinking about. If maybe it's not like I told, and everybody knows who's been watching, I've been on the whole thing saying that they're going to slide Tom Holland over to a Sony Spider-Verse and have him doing movies there. But there's been a lot of talk here recently about whether or not Tom Holland even wants to continue doing this Spider-Man and how long he wants to continue doing it.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
And so, based on that, that you have to at least ask the question of, does he even want to continue doing this after this movie, or does he want to take a break? And if so, if they're not going to bring in Andrew Garfield, if they're not going to bring in Tobey Maguire to take his place, how else could they, make that work? Well, there's one way. And this is another thing you wouldn't even have to do in in the actual movie. You could do it in post-credit scenes. Let's say Tom Holland's Spider-Man does die. Right? Post-credit scene, Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
And then you basically, because you have the MCU is based on the Ultimates run of the Marvel Universe. And in that universe, Spider-Man died. And that led to Miles Morales taking his place. And fans wasn't necessarily down with that until he was visited by a Spider-Man from another reality and gave kind of the vote of confidence that, yeah, you got this, little bro. So I'm saying there's a pathway that we could see where Tom bites the bullet and he gone.
I can kind of see that.
And then they slide in Miles, man.
It's funny though, because I think who did I say I wanted to die? I said, if not Toby, we got to kill off Tom. Is that what I said like a while ago? So it's kind of funny seeing you subscribe to that now, but for me to be like, I don't think he's gonna die. Actually,
I'm telling you. But here's the thing, and this is something we talked about earlier in the week. But this is and I really hope this is what's actually going on. But the way that they've handled the marketing for this. You see the way we going back and forth, and the way, there's really no definitive pathway one way or the other, because all of these possibilities are still on the table. This is how you create hype. Star Wars. This is how you get people talking. Star Wars. Just saying, man. I'm just saying that this is how you get people buzzed. This is the second video we've done this week, and we still talking about
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Hey, we were talking about Spider-Man.
Look at the screen. Spider-Man being on the screen saving the back. That's just part of that is just because Jermaine lazy ass don't ever do nothing to maintain nothing around here.
Yeah, we just keep it simple, man. This is what it is. Eventually, we talk about the same things anyway. We talk about the main gang.
Pretty much.
We probably got to take that back off. Al's going to stay there. Spider-Man's going to stay there. T'Challa's given.
You can't ever move T'Challa.
No, yeah.
But it does have to move, though, especially from off my side. Them damn Eternals. You already know where I was going. You already know where I was going. I was like, nope.
It'll be there eternally until we can finally work out the lease and move to Wakanda.
Oh, man, look. We got to talk about that because, they got some stipulations, and I don't know, man.
I mean, so where would you want to move to?
No, I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying, man, we're going to have to come to the negotiating table with these people and try to make this work.
Right. Shoot, I'm trying to get some stuff off of them.
That's the whole thing. They won't.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah,
One day.
one day.
Yeah. Right.
You know
We'll talk-
what I really hope one day I can say
What's that?
that I spent $60 on a game without that damn game having all kind of bugs and issues, man.
Sounds very reminiscent. I guess for once we're finally not talking about Avengers.
No,
Yeah, because we already
we
had
are
our.
not.
Now it's Al's turn. Go ahead, Al. Tell the people. Tell the people your experience.
Let me tell you. It's been a long time. Look, everybody knows how I felt about Avengers, right? We all know that. We know what Avengers was, but you know what Avengers was not to me? A surprise. Because Avengers is pretty much consistent with what we got in terms of the trailer, in terms of what I expected to see gameplay wise, and what I anticipated from Crystal Dynamics. Why?
Yeah.
Because who the hell is Crystal Dynamics?
Oh man,
I'm
Final Fantasy fans, man.
Look,
we had plans with that, man.
my statement or question stands. I don't see no Final Fantasy up in the walls in this mother.
And you won't either.
Exactly. So again, in my world, who the hell is the Crystal Dynamics? Have you ever played Final Fantasy? What's your favorite Final Fantasy, bro?
I just say if it would be anyone, it'd be the one they just remastered and released. I've only played it once a long time ago, and it's the only one that I like because you get to actually RPG like play your character. You don't have to like go into battle and stand there and then choose an attack and then get hit and then he attack. I hate that choose an attack stuff while you do standing. I just want to be able to press square, triangle, X, jump around, do whatever, and do it myself. Don't let me have to.
I feel that.
No, I hate that. So yeah, it's 4 or whatever. Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what I hate. You know what I hate in the game? When I go into a game expecting to hear music that ain't there. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You know what else I don't like? I don't like when the upgraded graphics look worse than the original graphics because you tried either too hard or not enough. Like, really? I get it. Let me be clear. Games are software. Software is coded. There will be errors in the code. You can't check everything. You can have the best quality assurance people in the world. There is always going to be something wrong. I have no problem with that. True. But when you call something the definitive edition, it better definitively be better than anything else you didn't ever put out. And I'm going to tell you right off the rip. It ain't better if Mike Jack ain't in the damn soundtrack, bruh.
That's one.
Vice City, one of the coldest things in Vice City was playing that game for the first time and pulling up in one of them early missions and hearing "Wanna Be" starting something on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, let me tell you, that sets the stage for what you are about to get into in a way that only the King of Pop himself could have done. Rest in peace. And you trying to tell me now I don't even get that experience?
No, man. Let's go.
So but even better, like Rockstar. So you were meticulous enough to make sure, and I get licensing, I get all of that, I understand, but maybe you should think about where you make enough money to work that out. You could have broke bread and kept them songs in there, because here's the interesting thing. I read in the article that the songs are actually still in the code of the game. They're just locked.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
You gonna try and make me pay for them later, Rockstar? Is that the plan? Is that what we doing?
It would be better if you like pulled up and like you said, when you get to that part and it plays "Wanna Be" starting something, and then it, Mike Jack's unlocked. That would be better than you having to like how you gonna make us? Okay, so how you gonna have GTA 5 with the huge platform? Like there's people on there that's been playing that game for 86 years. Okay, they got everything and they still playing, and you getting money off of that every time they drop something on that. how you gonna make people pay for stuff for a remaster? This is the only remaster that I would know of that you'll have to pay for something that would.
That's what I'm saying.
Game. Like that's already in. Like why? I guess like a team has to be licensing or something like that to make sense for it. But even then, if you're gonna remaster the game, you remaster the money you need to get that done. Like
I'm trying to tell you. And then like it's little nitpicky shit too. Cause it's like now when you aim, there's like this white outline around your character that completely, I get it's a cartoon based game. I get that it's like fictional and all of that. But like, don't take me completely out of the game by highlighting my character on or the enemy I'm trying to get on the screen in a way that completely just distracts from the actual aesthetics of the like shootout. Like it's certain little choices that it's like, why? Like why that? You know what I'm saying? Like what I don't understand, you have the GTA 5 engine. Why not just upgrade them to that quality with that engine and those mechanics and drop that as a definitive remaster?
That's what I thought they were doing too.
Exactly.
I've seen some of these the fan art for some of the remasters, like what they expected to do. Oh man, like what's his face from Vice City? Like that blow up was real.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. And the thing, exactly. And I'm talking about like even like there's some PC mods out there for GTA like that blow this shit out the water. And they locked all of that down. Rockstar shut all that down leading up to this release because they wanted to make sure they was getting all that bread. Well, when you gonna do something like that, man, you need to at least make sure your game ain't trash.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. And I get that we live in a world where like every little thing is scrutinized and thrown on social media. But this, to me, like the omission of the soundtrack, or like at least give people that heads up going into it and make that known, like widely known. Don't make it known, just like kind of brush it under the rug. Because a lot of those tracks, and GTA is one of those very few games where the soundtrack is just as important as everything else. Because the soundtrack in those games, especially the older ones, set the stage for the action and the story narrative, the narrative that you got in every one of those missions. So for them to do that, it's like you immediately like just don't even, I feel like younger cats is getting cheated because they're not getting the full actual experience because they're not able to like really see what that game was like in all its glory. And that's disappointing, especially when you drop $60 on that mug and then don't even want to play it because you can't get motivated because you ain't got the same vibe as before.
Right. Yeah. Like, now, like me, like I was going to wait for it to drop a little bit, but now I'm going to have to wait to see what they fix with these bugs before I decide that I'm going to want to play it because, I already went through that once.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not doing it again.
It's like you got parts of the game where textures are completely missing. There's one joint where there's like the Rockstar pool, but the star on the pool is missing one of the arms because like they just like animated it wrong. And it's just like,
I seen one on the San Andreas one where like CJ sits down or whatever and like his arms disappear.
Yeah, man. It's like all kind of stuff, man. And it's just like, look, again, those kind of things are forgivable except for when you charge $60 for a game that dropped like 20 years ago, damn near. And you didn't really remaster much about it.
No, it's worse, actually. Like I'd rather go back and try to find a way to play the original games on the console than to try to play no.
Right.
Why would I do that to myself?
Right.
Emulator here.
and the thing is, I see Felicity say GTA is problematic in 2021. I don't really see it as problematic. I know people have a problem with like the business model, but I don't really hate them for that because it's not like I'm sitting there dumping money into GTA 5 or GTA Online like that. Like, you do have the option of not spending money for shark cards. Like, I get that they try to entice you to do it by, having all of these new things that come out or whatnot. But again, as consumers, that is our power, is to speak with them wallets, man.
Right. But I mean, okay, maybe I need a little more clarity. Maybe it's just me. But, GTA is problematic in 2021. Okay, but we're talking about a game that was released years ago that got a glow up. Like, so that means to me, it should have been easy to do.
Thank you.
There shouldn't have been a problem to remaster this. So far, there's been at least 2 or 3 remastered games that have been released already. And they ain't had these types of problems. And they play a lot. Shoot, I'm just now getting to finally play the Batman Arkham releases.
No, yeah.
I'm Arkham Asylum it up, and they got Arkham City too, and they look amazing. And I don't remember them having no bugs and anything when that first came out, and that was a while ago. So It's like Rockstar. It's a Rockstar game. And it's an old Rockstar game. These games came out, and then when they came out, they didn't have bugs like talking about. So why would we expect it to be trash when it should be a home run? This is a hole in one. That's what it should have been. Not all these mulligans and birdies. They're not even a birdie, man. They are under par right now.
Oh yeah, these bogeys all over the place. Because that's exactly what that was. Bogus.
Yeah, totally.
Bogus was a word gave a couple of people that was turned up with us last night in the Discord, which, by the way, if you ain't part of the Discord, what are you doing with your life?
Nothing good.
Nothing good. We was in there for a good little minute last night, man. We took a flight on Intergalactic Airlines, went all across the galaxy, time and space, playing the hottest jams. And went a little left, man. We had to take a little detour a couple of times. I just remember the word. That's one of the few things I remember from last night. Is like somebody laughing at the word bogus. But that's what the definitive edition is. Bogus.
Very, very
straight bogus.
Yeah, that well. Well, at least you have something to look forward to, as in, of course, they will fix it.
Yes.
Me, on the other hand, I'm sitting over here very worried. To keep it back in the spirit of Spider-Man, I am very worried about this November 30 release of the Avengers Spider-Man.
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up.
Yes, I'm totally going to bring that up. And because I have not seen gameplay footage released for this game yet, man, and I'm like, all I know is Spider-Man. This might be superficial, whatever you want to call it. But Spider-Man just at least better be able to swing and clip on the walls like he's supposed to. I feel like the fighting that they do is fine. Like the way they have all that whole system set up is cool. It's just always the motion is the issue. Hulk and his bogus jumps and not being able to adequately be able to press X on Black Widow with swinging and all this little type of stuff with the motion is an issue for me. So the mobility, the movement. So if they can't do that with Spider-Man, I have problems. Okay. If they can, however, I can guarantee you I'll probably be on that game for a while.
Yeah. That's what's up. I'm gonna tell you like this, man. My hopes are not high. Look, Spider-Man was the only reason I bought this game. Straight up. That and Black Panther. That and Black Panther. Only reason I even gave that game my money was because I said, you know what? I'm gonna want to play with both of these characters. Let me go on and see what's up. So I got it. I still ain't even play. I played that game like all of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All of 5, literally all of 5 minutes.
Finish a mission.
Man. But when I saw that trailer, bruh, and I saw there was zero gameplay whatsoever, I was like, well, I guess we know what we getting into with this one, bruh.
Because like even the Black Panther one had
some gameplay, bruh. Like this one they said nope.
And I don't know why you do that too, because like everybody, and you're not the only one. Like a lot of people had purchased this game because Spider-Man was going to be free on
PlayStation. Yes,
and that is another thing too that worries me. Is like you said Spider-Man would be free on the PlayStation, so to their account, you can play each character as they drop it. But if you want to get any of the extra amenities and all that types of stuff, you got to pay at least $10 to unlock the achievement, the achievement part. where you get your XP, it levels up, and you get different types of items, character movements, and skins and all that stuff.
Yeah.
To me, Spider-Man had better be 100%. I don't got to pay nothing when it's dropped. I better be able to get skins and all that type of stuff. The achievement bar better be unlocked and all that stuff, for one. And like again, two, he better be able to play good. And I'm hoping maybe the weekend, maybe this week coming, because it's supposed to drop in 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping this week we will get another little teaser, and they show some gameplay or something like that.
Right.
And maybe because right now you don't really even see in the storyline too much. Like, that's kind of a whack intro for him to come in and be fighting some people, and then the Avengers is behind him. No, like, what's the storyline about? Again, Black Panther had an awesome release.
Yeah.
Spider-Man should be just as good, if not better. And like, we love T'Challa here, but that's not the point. It's Spider-Man, okay?
He's not wrong. He is definitely not wrong.
I gotta
But let me tell you why you are too optimistic, even in your pessimism. Because that trailer told you everything you needed to know, man. This is the most tacky, like, DLC that you are going to get out of this game. This is going to be the one that is going to feel most unfulfilled, because here's the thing, and here's where they back themselves into a corner that they were never going to be able to get out of. Is Spider-Man in this game going to play better than the Spider-Man game on PS4?
Oh, I mean, that's a given. It's not like that's
right, but
we already past that point. Like, we ain't ever going to reach that bar. That, like,
exactly.
No.
But hear me out. Hear me out. Then they should have waited until now to announce it. Because here's the thing. When they announced it back when they no, just the Spider-Man piece.
Oh, okay.
Because when you drop the trailer and you give people that teaser right off the rip, first of all, that was right on the heels of Spider-Man, and right before they got ready to start talking about the PS5 glow up. Right. So it's like you positioned your hype or your announcement for your game right in a place where it is going to be forever linked to one of, if not the best Spider-Man adaptation in video game history, period. So, like, there's immediately going to be that comparison. Now, we all know there's no way it's going to be anywhere near close to that gameplay. But the problem is, you're in a situation now where the Spider-Man hype is back. So those of us who are gamers have probably been doing what? Playing some Spider-Man, getting in, people with the 5, probably getting into that Miles Morales again, because we all do it. When a game or a movie is coming out that's like, and we got little ties to it, you start reacclimating yourself. You go back and watch the movies. You play a little bit of the game, whatnot. And what's going to happen when you switch over and you start playing Avengers and you pick Spider-Man and my dude Webbs is coming from the sky and he ain't sticking to shit.
They moved dropping Spider-Man behind 3 characters. You got Kate Bishop, you got Hawkeye, which was out of place for me, and then you got Black Panther.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was supposed to release with the game, or at least by the first. This is almost a year later.
Yes.
Okay, it was supposed to do this a year ago.
Yes.
They had an entire year to get that together. I'm telling you right now, because the only reason why I haven't yet, if Spider-Man is not as good as it needs to be, I will delete that off my PlayStation. I have had it on my PlayStation the entire time, waiting for Spider-Man to release. This is like, T'Challa is not good enough. And that's the only character that I'm using right now. I haven't picked back to use any of the other nobodies, okay? Thor, I love Thor. Thor's dope. I ain't use Iron Man. I love Iron Man. Iron Man is actually pretty good in that game. But if Spider-Man does not hit like it needs to, it will totally get evicted from my PlayStation.
How?
And that's facts.
How many gigs is that game?
Shoot, at least 53.
All right.
Just to
we'll give it 55.
And,
and when does Spider-Man drop?
November 30th.
Got you. My prediction is by December 2nd, Lavis will have 55 gigabytes of free space on his PlayStation. You heard it here first, people. You heard it here first. December 2nd, my man will not have. He will have 55 gigabytes of free space on his PlayStation. Because I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be a massive, massive letdown. I already see it. I already see it. I told you this with the game, and I'm telling you this with this add-on, bruh. The reason it took them a year is because they were building up the courage to drop this trash. Like straight up. You think I'm playing? Like, watch. Mark my words, bruh. Mark my words.
That's hilarious.
Winged Wolf, what's good? I see you, Ryan. I see you popped in, man. What's good, boy? Bruh, you mark my words. Watch. You gonna be like, boy, you gonna come on here and you are gonna shit all over that Spider-Man DLC, and I'm gonna be like, now, why do you think they? And
I might go live.
And I'll tell you another reason they did it. Another reason they did it was to soften the blow. So they trying to drop it around the time to maximize the hype with the movie and whatnot, thinking that people will just get excited about that. But what's bad is they're doing it before the actual movie drop. So the movie's gonna be there to watch that badass taste out of people's mouth. Right. Because
Reggie White was like, "Yo, y'all go ahead and drop that."
You dropped it. No,
you drop that close to Spider-Man, I will ruin you. There will be crystal.
There will be no more dynamics in your crystals.
Right. Yeah.
Hell no.
Sorry.
Boy, look. He was like, I will have you designing options menus.
Right. Oh God! By the time I'm done with you,
22 hours of overtime.
Goodness.
Boy, man, but I'm
in that Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh man, look, that was another one that we know. We knew that though. We knew that too, man. I mean, number one, like, who wants to play a Guardians game where the only one you can play with is Star-Lord? And a like, I don't even want to know what you call that version of Star-Lord. Like,
I mean, either.
Yeah. He's like he had boy band vibes, bro. Like, I wasn't really feeling that, the boy band vibes.
No,
I was just like, nah, man.
I don't know. He looks like a vanilla Nick Ice or something like that. Like,
yeah, like that part. Like
I don't even know.
He wanted you to stop, collaborate, and listen.
Did you play Wing Wolf? And yes, Felicity, the Avengers. It's I wouldn't say it's all that, but
put it like this: you got to be a real hardcore Avengers fan to like it.
I don't know, man. I'm waiting. This is what I usually wait for. So if a game is really good, then it'll take a long time for PlayStation to really kind of acknowledge it, other than to give it a discount. Which right now it has a discount. I could buy it. I think it's like $25-$30 until the 20th. So I got some time to make up my mind. Or not 20th, excuse me, the 30th. But I usually wait to see about a month or two. If it's not that good, they will offer it for free.
Yes.
You will get that for PlayStation Plus.
Oh yeah.
So I will wait, because I've been surprised, man, that some games that you think would never hit the little free box for at least a few months, it's on there in like 2 months or so, just so they can actually get some kind of revenue for having it like that for the membership. So if it's like that, I'll buy it. I'll get it for free on the free. I know how that goes. You go. It's the same thing with Avengers. Didn't Avengers come out a few months after I had gotten it? And that's how you got it, isn't it?
Yep, because I was like, oh, it's free. It's like it's free $99. All right, well then, yeah, I download it now. Yeah. Then all I had to pay for was a little upgrade price to go for the PS5 version, I think. But yep, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So now I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah, definitely that. But I'm looking at the time, man.
Right.
We hitting the home stretch, and I think it's about time for me to go and lay this out there.
Go ahead and lay it out there, man. I know it's coming. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know I love me some Star Wars. And I have done my very best over the last couple of years to try to be the voice, not the voice, but a voice of reason amongst the Star Wars fandom. With the little bit of reach that I do have, I try to, make sure everybody looks at things from an even perspective. I know that's hard to do when you're thinking about The Last Jedi. I get it. But I have a confession to make, or more so an announcement. December 29th, Boba Fett launches. We get that premiere. And we will be going into the next phase of Star Wars content because we know we've got the Andor series coming. We've got Ahsoka coming. We've got Obi-Wan coming. We did have Rogue Squadron coming, but, somebody messed around and gave Dave Filoni or Bob Chapek or somebody a copy of Wonder Woman 84. The Care Bears 3. And as soon as they saw that, they was like, hell no.
To the no.
No.
I'm so glad. So glad.
So happy. So happy.
Thank you.
So happy.
Star Wars gods.
It's indefinitely postponed, but we know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
We know what that means.
But
it's hard for me to even say this right now, bro.
It's just, what? It's just,
ladies and gentlemen, the next 12 to 18 months of Star Wars is going to be very crucial for me. I'm going to be paying very close attention because it has dawned on me that I may have been just very, 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 very slightly holding out hope that ain't there. Now, people might be asking what the hell I'm talking about right now. I'm going to tell you. Watch that Boba Fett trailer, right? We all watched it. I'm sure it got you hyped. Everybody was excited. Looks like it's going to be just as gritty and down to Star Wars Earth, if you will, as The Mandalorian was. And who doesn't want to see more of Boba Fett? Like, Boba's that dude. He's a legendary character in Star Wars. If people want to see more of him, I totally get that. But I'm afraid, y'all. I'm afraid. I don't know. Because I watched that and I see how the angle and the direction they're taking Boba in. And I have one question. The hell does all this mean, man? So now Boba is going to go back to the underworld where he was, he was a hitman. He was a bounty hunter. Now he's going to be kind of like the HMIC, head Mandalorian in charge, and telling people what's going on and how it's going to get handled, but kind of doing so with a soft hand. Kind of turn the other cheek mentality, huh? Now, the one thing I'll say is that trailer don't look like it shows very much at all in terms of what this show is going to actually be about, which makes total sense, and I'm cool with that part. But when you talk about like Boba kind of having this change in perspective, I don't like that. I don't like that, man. And the reason I don't like that is because I've been saying this for like the better part of I've probably been saying this since Last Jedi. I'm about ready for Star Wars to take a dark turn. Like, it's time for us to get to a point where the dark side, aka the villains of Star Wars, get a little bit more respect, a little bit more attention, and a little bit more depth. Like, we haven't had what was the last Star Wars villain with layers that we received was Palpatine. And they just like drained that dude. Cause Vader to me is not a villain. Like Vader had a stint as a villain. But Vader to me, you know what Vader's like to me, dog? Vader to me is like Hulk Hogan.
What do you mean, brother?
I'll tell you what I mean, brother. Well, you know something, Lavis? When you think about... No, I'm not even going to do it.
You got to point at me.
Well, you know something, brother?
There you go.
Oh, man. But no, what I mean is, people look at Vader, right? Or people look at Hulk Hogan, and you think of Hulk Hogan with the red and the yellow and yada, yada, yada. But Hogan had the little stint where he went through the NWO and everything else. He was a bad guy. But you think of Hulk Hogan, you think of a good guy. Now I get it. Casual fans, normies, they see Vader and they see a villain. I am talking about me personally. I don't see Vader like that because I know Vader's entire arc. And Vader's arc to me, he ended up a hero. He's ended up the light side dude that he started out as.
I thought you were gonna say light skin.
I was gonna say, nah, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't want to trigger Felicity. We don't want to go there. We don't want to go there.
Right,
but that's me. Like, again, that's the way I look at it. So then, from that respect, like the last relevant villain that we had with layered villain that we had was Palpatine, because episode 9 was about who. So my thing is, can we get a little bit more of that? Like, can we just get a little bit more of the point of view of the dark side? And I thought, while Boba Fett is not dark side affiliated or anything like that, it kind of gave me, or I kind of looked at that from the Christopher Nolan Batman series vibe, where it's like, this character is not necessarily evil per se, but he is more closely connected to the darker, more gritty side of Star Wars, to where we will get introduced to more of those characters and really see that. But it almost feels like that ain't what's gonna happen. And it's just like, I can't help but like have this real uneasy feeling about what this show is going to do and where this show is going to go. Now, in Filoni, we trust. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, no, I don't want him to be light skinned. That's the whole thing. No, I want Boba to be more Wesley Snipes and a little less Mario Van Peebles.
That's the perfect comparison to.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, I'm like, that's all I'm saying. It's like, please don't turn Boba into no wimp, bro. Yes, New Jack City Snipes. Yes, Mr. Sit your ass, the $5 ass down before I make change. That dude, New Jack Boba. That's what I need. I need New Jack Boba. I don't need.
You want New Fat City over there?
Yes, I want New Fat City. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Like, straight up. I need that. That's what I want to see in Star Wars, man. And I hope that that's where they're going, because I'm going to tell you, man, like, straight up, if Star Wars turns into, or if they're pushing Star Wars into this, like, more fantasy driven, more like lighter representation, I'm gonna have to jump off the wagon, bro. That's right. I might have to, like, I won't renounce my fandom, but it may have to get reprioritized. And I cannot believe I'm saying that, but you know, we all transition in life. Some things you feel like you grow out of, and maybe, just maybe, I might be growing out of Star Wars, bro.
No, man,
I can't believe I'm saying it.
Right. You ain't supposed to be able. It's like me saying I'm growing out of DC or Batman or something like that.
Well, I just don't. I hope that's not the case.
No.
I hope that's not the case.
Hopefully not, man.
But the thing I can't get over, man, the thing I can't get over is I don't see right now the road ahead. Because I know, or put it this way, I know the road ahead. I just don't see right now the path to that road. Because we know what the sequel trilogy is like looming in the distance, right? We know it's coming because all of this stuff, Boba Fett, the Ahsoka series, Andor, the Obi-Wan series, of course, all of this stuff is pre-sequel trilogy. So we know that we're building up to that. So like the Thrawn thing, everything, like all of that is leading up to the sequel trilogy. So how are we going to tie this in, and where's that going to put us beyond that? Now, I almost was going to not bring this up because I ain't know how this was going to get received, but I stumbled across a video, and the video had a very interesting premise. And I just want to know how my main authority peoples feel about this. But what if I told you there was a way for the sequel trilogy to exist and not exist at the same time?
Interesting.
What if I told you that the mechanism for such has already been put into place.
Sounds.
I would venture that if you want to hear the full version of what I'm talking about, there's a video by a gentleman named Lord Star on YouTube. Go to Lord Star's channel, shout to Lord Star, and look up the video. Filoni already proved the sequels. I'm going to say this again. Filoni already proved the sequels are in an alternate universe. I'm going to let that marinate for a minute.
Yeah. Let that sink in for a
Let that
second.
sink in.
Because you're
My
gonna have
man postulates
yes.
that the
explain it.
sequel trilogy that has been so controversial at minimum may actually not really even be what happened. Now, I'm gonna try to give you like the TLDR on this, but essentially the gist of all of this is all hinged upon Ahsoka and the fact that Ahsoka is alive. Because what my man is saying is he's asking, what if the sequel trilogy is the conclusion of the Skywalker saga had Ahsoka died? Now, if you go back to season 2 of Rebels, Malachor, Ahsoka and Vader fighting. Vader comes walking out of that temple or the ruins of that temple. Ahsoka looked like she's going into the hereafter, and that's all we heard from Ahsoka from Rebels until we got to the end of season, towards the end of the last season. And the assumption was that Ahsoka was gone. Then we find out in the Wolves and the Door episode that Ezra actually went into the world between worlds and was able to save Ahsoka just before that fateful incident with Vader. Right before the climactic moment where she was about to lose her life, apparently, my man pulled her out. Now, the whole premise of this video, and again, please do go check it out, is that my man is saying that if you think about that, and you think about the idea of Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, and what the Empire's business with Baby Yoda was, the Emperor was essentially trying to create a Force-sensitive clone. And Baby Yoda, according to what we learned in The Mandalorian, was the key to that. So the question that you ask yourself is, okay, well, where the hell was Baby Yoda during the sequel trilogy? Well, perhaps he was with Palpatine on Exegol. Perhaps Palpatine was still using that blood to now create the clones or Force-sensitive clones that he was trying to create the whole time. Why would he have Palpatine or Grogu? Well, because who was it that directed Mando to take Grogu to a Jedi? Not just a Jedi, but to a specific point in the universe to send a beacon out for a Jedi. That was Ahsoka. Well, how the hell could Ahsoka do that if Ahsoka died and then was pulled out later? So that again, that the theory, the working theory here is that Dave Filoni found a way to create a diverted timeline so that the sequels can remain canon. Yes, this is a deep one. This is a very deep one. And I'm going to tell you why it's complete and total bullshit. Because here's my thing with that. What normie is going to understand that shit? And when would they give us that? Thank you very much, Felicity, for dropping the link. But at what point would they give us the aha moment? Now, he says in his video that he thinks that it could be something that they discussed during the Ahsoka show. That it could get revealed during the Ahsoka show. Now, I don't think so, but here's the thing that I can't answer. And here's, like I was telling the homie while we were trying to work out our technical difficulties earlier, because Windows is some bullshit. I digress, I'm sorry. like I told the homie, the one thing that I can't resolve is when you look at the fact that the sequel trilogies exist, and then you look at the fact that you've got all of this new information and context with the Mandalorian, with Grogu. You've got the whole thing with the Empire wanting Grogu's blood, and the fact that Luke now has or I was going to call him Yoda. Luke now has Grogu, and the assumption is that he is going to go train Grogu. But how does that work if we learn in the sequel trilogy that Luke's first student was Ben at the age of 10? Season 2 of Mando happens, I think, about 6 years before that point. So either somebody wrong, or Luke really was, or Ben really was Luke's first student in the timeline that we got with the sequel trilogy. It's all confusing as hell, and it's why I feel like that theory don't work, but it poses a question to me of where the hell are they going with Star Wars right now? And that's why I have to say my faith has been shaken, bruh.
I can see
because
that.
I'm like, wait a minute. That poses a good question. How are we going to reconcile all of the stuff we got from the sequel trilogy? You trying to tell me that like the First Order / the Emperor thwarted all of these efforts that Ahsoka and Grogu and Luke and Din Djarin and Boba Fett, all of these people and all of this stuff that they doing really amounts to shit? And like we still end up with the First Order reigning supreme and getting to the point that we got in the Rise of Skywalker. So then what is I pose the question, what is the point? If I refuse to believe that Grogu and this whole storyline does not matter. Now, again, I've said myself that I think where they're going with it, and the more logical thing would be that all of these people are going to end up in the unknown region somewhere, dealing with something a whole lot more important than the remnants of this Sith Empire, because this is going to threaten the entire galaxy. This is going to be like next level, like we wiping everything out if we don't stop this. So that's where I think they're going with like Thrawn and Ezra and the unknown regions and the Ahsoka show. That seems more realistic than this theory, but it makes me wonder if like what the direction is. And Proxy, yes, I am still holding out hope for Dark Grogu. I don't need him to necessarily be a Sith, but I need Grogu to be evil. I don't need him, which is why another reason about this theory that I was like, hey, wait a minute. Because I would rather Grogu. What if he wasn't a prisoner? If you follow this theory, if you watch the video, check the video out, and just ask yourself, if Grogu wasn't, what if Grogu wasn't a prisoner? What if he was an apprentice?
Okay.
And we just don't know that yet.
Right. They already trying to play it off like he was imprisoned.
You know what I'm saying? And like you find out that like, no, Palpatine knew what was coming and sent the homie somewhere else. And gave him orders to how to proceed. Like that would be dope, but I don't think they're gonna do that either. And that's exactly, and that's my problem. That's my problem. Star Wars is gonna have to start taking some real serious chances with their storytelling, because right now they're still playing in that safe little box that is the Skywalker saga. And at some point, you're gonna have to let go of Anakin's hand, man. Now again, in Filoni and Favreau, we trust, damn right. But I'm just saying, man, like the stuff that I'm seeing. You know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And as crazy as it sounds and as wild as this theory is, when you start looking at certain things, it makes you at least wonder, because there was also a story a couple of months ago about a Ben Solo sequel trilogy.
Right.
How the hell can you do that if Ben Solo gone?
Right. But I have a question though. So, especially on that.
Mm-hmm.
So was it, and correct me if I'm wrong, of course, what I'm asking, was it Ben Solo who pretty much destroyed the school, whatever that Luke Skywalker had? Okay. Yes. So would it be possible that if they could cover that from after the fact of him destroying the order and feed into your theory about them having an evil baby Yoda, maybe when he tears it down, he doesn't kill everybody?
That's also yes, that is absolutely a possibility. So you could have a scenario where they do a Ben Solo sequel trilogy where they focus more on Ben, like those 3 movies take more of a role from Ben as he, at the tail end of his relationship with Luke into his kind of emergence as Kylo Ren. And then they also kind of loop into that the fate of Grogu, like what happened to him in that sense. So you could definitely have that, because here's the thing. I refuse to believe that Ben Solo killed Grogu when he burnt up Luke's academy. That would just be completely fucking ridiculous and pointless. Like if you introduce Grogu only for him to get like burnt up in that situation, then Disney's basically pouring out Star Wars at this point, and I'm off that bus. Like straight up. Because now you're telling stories that don't even matter. It's like you just filling in gaps with like stuff that you think is cool, but really don't have any real implication on the overall plot at large. I'm like, nah, man. It's kind of like, you know what that feels like to me? That feels like GTA Online, bro. Where it's like, now you just dropping updates to try to get me to come in there and want to buy some more games, some more VC or 2K. Look, I'm saying VC. I can't do it every time. Why 2K always got to come into it? 2K always all connected. But yeah, man, it's like the same thing. It's like at that point now, you just telling stories to try to like appeal to my nostalgia to get me to come back and keep dumping money into this IP. And it's like, nah, bro. Like, yeah, that's kind of what it is right now. But it's like, the quality of the content is there. If you take the quality out of it, then like at that point, why am I investing my money like that? Or why am I throwing away my money like that?
Right.
Like it's not even worth it, because you're giving me stories that don't really add up to anything at all. And that's the thing about Star Wars that always appealed to me, was the continuity, in the sense that every piece of content that you would get connected to the overall story. It might not have necessarily been as important to know what was going on, but you could tie it back to certain places, certain characters, certain events, to where everything was connected. And if you can't do that, the Knights of Ren, man, go ask Ryan Johnson about the Knights of Ren, bro.
Look, pretty much just say it to him straight out. If they ain't got the sauce,
then motherfucker, that's they loss.
Exactly.
I don't know what else to tell you, man. Like that's just, I don't know. But yeah, they were supposed to be like, you were supposed to get this whole thing about who Ren was and all of this. And I think they go through it in the Kylo Ren comic. But I'm just be real, I really didn't follow any of it, because I feel like all of that got it like thrown aside once you realize that it's not Snoke, it's Palpatine the whole damn time. It's like that just. It's like that Agatha all along shit. Like it's,
I know, they need to figure it out, man, and stick to something and get back on track. Like, right. I don't know what they up in the air about too many things right now.
Exactly. And that's and look, it's an exciting time, because again, am I hyped for the Ahsoka show? You damn right. Am I hyped for Obi-Wan? You damn right. I didn't touch on that, but that Obi-Wan teaser, I have the ultimate faith in Deborah Chow and what they're about to do with that show, because I think if people can get past this idea that Vader and Obi-Wan could have never crossed paths after Mustafar, according to what you got in the OG trilogy, it's like that's just because you don't want to see them retcon those elements. But it is very well possible, and it is very well logical that when Vader makes the line or says the line that when they first met, he was but the learner, now he's the master, that didn't necessarily have to be Mustafar. That could have been the fight that we're about to see with them, in this Obi-Wan show. So I'm still hyped about Obi-Wan. I want to see kind of what that does. But the reason I'm so positive and hyped on Obi-Wan is because, again, I know exactly how the Obi-Wan stuff ties into the Skywalker saga at large. Like, this is just giving me some additional context, but I know that Obi-Wan basically returns or ends up still on Tatooine and runs into Luke when Luke hits, set 19 in A New Hope? So I know where all of that's going. But when you talk about all of these other IPs, it's like, okay, well, I know we end up at the sequel trilogy and the emergence of the First Order and all of that, but how? Like, what is the event, or what is the turning point where Ahsoka and all of them take a back seat to Kylo Ren, Snoke, and the First Order, because none of these people were around or mentioned at all in the and in the sequel trilogy. And another thing to kind of drop on that theory joint, dude talks about at the end of Rise of Skywalker how one of the voices that Rey hears is Ahsoka's. So when does Ahsoka die exactly? If Ahsoka died, you know, that does that mean we still have yet to see her death, or could it be that that's the timeline where she wasn't saved by Ezra? Because that voice was Ashley Eckstein. It was not Rosario Dawson. So I'm just saying, like, there's, you know, splitting atoms, but it's like there's precedent. So it's something to make you go, if nothing else. But bottom line, if Star Wars don't figure something out soon, man, I'm gonna have to just be like, I ain't gonna get on the Disney hate bandwagon, but I might hop off the Star Wars one, man.
Might get evicted.
I might. Now I won't evict it, man. I won't evict it, but I might put it all the way in the closet somewhere where it can't. Because I just don't. Yeah, you know what, Winged Wolf, but that's really what, like, I wouldn't mind that either, as long as the story that they told or the way that they tied the two together makes sense and is and feels like a natural evolution or progression of the Skywalker saga, because they shitted on the idea of Anakin and the Chosen One in Rise, because they don't even acknowledge it at all. So it's like, if you go back and you give me some kind of context or you give me some kind of resolution on that, then I'm cool with that. And I think that might be the part of me that like holds out an inkling of hope on this theory from Lord Star, is because at least with that like far-fetched possibility, that would explain why it is that all of this stuff just got kind of swept to the side and marginalized in that sequel trilogy. Because now you have the ability to come back and try and tell it the right way.
Right.
So like, that's the thing that, again, just like everybody else, kind of keeps the pipe dream alive. But bottom line, man, Boba, I really hope they just really stick to those hardcore elements with that. And I really hope that Star Wars starts to take a dip to the dark side just a little bit more. Peace out, Luke. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, man, that's we'll see, man. We'll see, man.
We shall see. Hold out hope till we see what we gonna get, and I think we'll have a better idea. We're getting really close. Next week we got Hawkeye. We're gonna get Book of Boba shortly after. So we'll Star Wars John again with that, and you know, that'll lead into the new year.
Yeah, man. I can't believe we saying that, bro. Like, we already like 2021 about to be in the rear view. Dang.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do something for New Year's.
You know we're gonna turn up some kind of way, man.
Yeah,
especially since last year I couldn't.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because I was damn near dead.
Yes,
you know, last year your boy had that Rona.
Yeah, man.
During New Year's, I was laying in the bed like, man, just let me make it. Oh man, so yeah, I'm damn sure gonna be looking to turn up this year, bro.
I say let's turn it over to conversation and libation.
Yeah, man, let's do that.
And at the end of it, how about we roll out on the commercials before the end?
That sounds like an idea.
I think it does too, especially for all them dusty bastards.
Yep, you know, Star Wars fans, DC fans. It doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter. Now, Proxy, I didn't hear anything about Battlefront 3 getting canceled, and I don't really play Battlefront 3, so I'm not one of the people who are going to be affected by it.
Not yet. Stop it. Hey, look, Mercials was like, somebody say Mercials?
Right.
What they say about them Mercials? I like them.
I like them Mercials. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I know I'm going to be covering Hawkeye. So let's keep an eye over on that one. I have to cover Hawkeye because I guess I'm always defending him, the character.
Yes.
So
yes, you are. So you are definitely going to have to defend yourself.
Yeah, man. Well, not myself, just at least the character. I think Hawkeye's gonna be pretty dope.
No, you're gonna defend yourself. Because I'm gonna let you explain why the hell you thought Hawkeye was gonna be any damn good. You can explain yourself.
It's got strong Die Hard vibes, dude. Like, Die Hard's good. Maybe because you don't like it. Maybe because of Bruce Willis. But there's no Bat Cullens or nothing in this, okay? It's all just straight up Hawkeye. And we're transitioning over into the Kate Bishop, which I think she's going to be a good comic relief as well as a good uprising star for the Marvels. But I think Hawkeye's going to be a pretty good down-to-earth
Marshall Base. Look, the Mercers won't quit, man. I just don't understand why they continue to want to come over here and just be in the way. I don't understand.
Right. Plus, there's a lot of potential of what's going on in the future that some of these things are setting up to. And I think it's going to be another one of those shows that shows what's going down with your girl Val.
Yeah.
So I want to see who else she's going to try to recruit or maybe show up with. Plus, she tried to drop that thing on your girl Yelena talking about he's the one who killed her sister.
Yeah.
So I want to see if that's going to play anything, because they ain't talked about that at all. And this is the only place in space where it should pay off at. So
I'm gonna just be real about it. I have zero I have zero hype for this show. Because
I'm not gonna be like a big hype, but I think it's worth covering. I think it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, no, we definitely gonna cover it. We definitely gonna cover it. I'm gonna definitely watch it. I probably will enjoy it, but I have no anticipation for this because my thing is, again, I'm a big overall plot guy, and I'm sorry, I hate to disrespect Hawkeye like this, but who the hell is Hawkeye in the big picture, bro? Like,
hey, he's the one who always bails the Avengers out.
They was about ready to let my man just chunk deuces off a cliff, bro. Like, I'm just like, nah, bro. Like, again, and I'm sure the show is going to be interesting. It's going to be funny. There's going to be a lot of little nuggets in there that are going to be relevant. But it's just like, I got to see it first because there's nothing for me with Hawkeye that's going to make me go, oh, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, man.
It might surprise you.
I hope it does. I hope that it does. I really do hope it does.
And I'm gonna stay at least by episode 2, because episode 1, I think we already seen about a good 3/4 of it already in the trailers. They ain't showing us nothing outside of episode.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
Long run trailers, like the 2 minute 30 some odd seconds that we got of it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure. Other than that, outside of that, I know that the amalgamation that they put together could be of maybe 1 to 3 episodes. Who's to say which ones those are? But I still think it's gonna look dope. I think Hawkeye definitely does look fun. The only thing I'm not digging in it, and I'm probably the only one because everybody likes things like Hamilton and all these musicals out there. But when you're gonna get that Captain America the musical, I'm really hoping that's just something that's in the background of the action or something. Yeah, I'm not really into.
You can miss me with the Hamiltons and the sing-alongs and the Disneyfications.
Yeah.
Nope.
No,
not here for that.
I am not for that either. Keep that actually on Broadway.
You can give them High School Musical, the definitive edition.
I'm trying to tell you, let's not try to have a Hawkeye Kids Bop album drop.
Yeah, no,
I'm good.
No, absolutely.
Okay. Be the Avengers Kid Bop, wouldn't it?
Oh boy, that
you're gonna get that in the next couple of years.
Oh.
But yeah, what I'm hoping a little bit comes out of Hawkeye though is a little bit more focus on what they're gonna do with the young Avengers, since they're building up to that so much. And Kate Bishop will be the first young Avenger that is actually heavily featured in one of these shows. We've got teasers from some of the other ones, like in the Captain America Winter Soldier. Got your boy Elijah and everything that's in there, and we got teasers for the kids from WandaVision.
Yeah,
and now this is the first one, that they'll actually like focus on them and not just have a couple episodes and then find out they're getting erased and then Wanda's got to go get them again. So I'm wondering what they're doing with that, because that's kind of something that to me is kind of like falling by the wayside. They ain't really talked about it too much and or alluded to it too much. Everything is leading to either a grown Avengers team being put back together with Shang-Chi, Black Knight, and all of them. But you ain't really heard anything about the kids too much. That they've kind of hummed that out. It's all Agatha's getting a new show, and then Armor Wars Invasion. I ain't heard. You heard anything? Am I missing anything?
Nah, but you know why you ain't heard nothing about them kids?
Because I know why. I tell you why. Because them kids. That's why.
That's why. Look,
Exactly.
that's exactly why.
I knew why. Yeah.
Oh man, that was too funny. But yeah, man, like this. I Mean, look, Hawkeye. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna go into it negatively. I will go into it very, very neutral, and expecting to be entertained. But I am not holding back if that show is basura.
Right.
I'm going to unleash it.
Right. I see Proxy asks,
yeah,
the Young Avengers going to be the main characters post Secret Wars, or are they going to bring back the main heroes from the multiverse, just different actors? So Young Avengers, I feel like they'll probably be the team that goes up against Kang. I see that being that. I think they're going to drop him in Ant-Man. It won't be a definitive conclusion, or they'll split the multiverse a little bit more and show the different versions or whatever. But one of the kids, because of the whole Iron Lad thing. So I see them doing like Kang being their first villain that they have to handle for some odd reason, one way or another. But the Secret Wars thing and everything they're doing with that will definitely be adult Avengers for that.
Yeah.
Like Secret Wars is building up to be something in between the Midnight Suns, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna put Black Knight on the Avengers. They're heavily teasing that too much, and he's definitely an Avengers character. So they might do a little mix or something to embolden that character by bringing in Blade, which would be two new characters, but characters that people are actually waiting for. One moment. Excuse me. But at the same time, you got Shang-Chi. They're talking about welcome to the team with him. Of course, like I already said, Black Knight's probably gonna be there. They may mix an Eternal or two in there, but they haven't put the team together fully yet. So it's kind of hard to say where they're gonna pivot. The Hulk might still be on it. Who they'll keep on it, who they won't. Naturally, it would be T'Challa, would probably have joined, but of course he can't now. So we'll have to see where they pivot with that. But I'm pretty sure Young Avengers will have their own villain that's probably not going to have anything to do with Secret Wars.
Yeah, I think you'll end up having multiple Avengers groups. Like I think they might do like the West Coast Avengers thing and all of that. You'll have the Young Avengers and the multiversal Avengers, like the whole nine, and you'll start. I think they'll establish those different groups, and then you'll get all of those groups coming together from Secret Wars because, and I can't remember if it was heavy spoilers or if it was Ryan Airy that said it, but I'm leaning more towards like this whole thing being after everything is said and done, that all of these timelines end up merging into one. Again, that it all resets, and so you'll have characters from different multiverses making up the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. So it might not be the Iron Man necessarily that from, it might not be Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. It might be somebody else if they continue the Iron Man character. But that's what I expect to see. And then as a result of that, you'll have different groups of Avengers or whatnot that are out and about, and you get movies and shit from. Because I think if you continue to just let this grow, it'll get too hard for you to keep track of who's a part of what multiverse. Like at some point, the multiverse idea is dope, but you've got to find a way to contain that story.
Yeah.
And so the best way to do that would be get to Secret Wars, have everything kind of get destroyed, and then you reestablish this new timeline where you pull in kind of a conglomerate of all of.
Well, that's the thing. So that's the thing pretty much. So you have to get to the event in which and it doesn't necessarily have to be Kang. That's the thing that I guess everybody.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. That Kang doesn't have to be the because the whole thing is Secret Wars doesn't have to be like Kang doesn't have to be he may be the thing that kicks that off, but that event by the time we get to Secret Wars, Kang might already be off the table. We might be talking about Galactus by that point.
Yeah, okay. So
or Doctor Doom, like you might have like
Yeah.
Doom. I'm sorry, I said Galactus. I mean, like you might have Doom and the Fantastic Four by the time Kang is dealt with, and so then at that point it's gonna change again everything. Or the thought is right now is that Kang might be taking on more of a Doom-ish role in this version of Secret Wars in the MCU, which is very well possible. But if you think about it, in Infinity War, Loki was the villain that they faced at first. He was the original villain that the Avengers faced. It was Loki and the invasion. And then you find out that Loki was kind of like in the very first Avengers movie.
Right.
And so then you find out that Loki was more like a sub boss. So that could very well be the same case with Kang. Like Kang might be a leveled up sub boss, but he might be, we stepping up the stakes. So now, I mean, because if you think about it, they're gonna have to really explain Kang and the context of Kang's power when you've got Celestials walking around. You know what I'm saying? Like when you've got the concept of once you've introduced the concept of Celestials, you're gonna have to do a damn good job of explaining the power of somebody like Kang.
Right. So that's just mainly time manipulation when it comes to Kang, and the fact that how they changed the story a bit to where the winning and defining character that actually helps Kang win is not Kang himself, it's Alioth.
Right.
So the fact that Alioth is able to eliminate all the extra cosmic energies of timelines is what he was able to harness and use to be able to snap all of it to one and maintain it to that way, and then delete and to control the timeline. So the Celestials eventually will get dealt with the Eternals, with them figuring out that there are other Eternals out there, that their purpose, they are actually able to deviate from what they're created for, blah, blah, blah. So their aim is to actually kill the Celestials.
Okay.
So
yeah,
Celestials will be preoccupied with all that, and just again, like everything else outside of that.
No. I'm not saying like the Celestials are a threat. What I'm saying is to the normie.
Right.
If you show me a being that could literally backhand Earth, and you want me to believe that Kang has more power than that being, you're gonna have to really explain that. Like to the average person. We get it because we understand the concept that Kang exists out of time and space and the whole nine. But just from again, and not to say that Kang and the Celestials will even cross paths at all, but just from the stance of like the scale of where the MCU is going, it would feel like a letdown to a normie. I feel like if you get a resolution to the Celestials in a movie, let's say like if they do an Eternals movie, a sequel or whatever, and they battle the Celestials and win, right? Think of the scale of that, and then think of a movie with Kang, where the Avengers are facing Kang in Secret Wars. Like you've got to do something to like glow that conflict up, and to really blow the scale of that event out of the water, to make people understand this shit is way bigger than just like these. Like you got to think of this outside of the realm of just the Celestials and shit.
I think and I think that they'll probably handle that. I can think of a couple dope ways that you can make it to where a person like Kang could actually bend the will of a Celestial to his power without.
That's what I'm exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying is they're gonna have to demonstrate that on some level to connect the dots for the normies. Because if Kang is going to be the big bad at the point when we get to Secret Wars,
the Earth, yeah, like he's big bad for the Earth, but I guess that's what I'm saying though. At the same time, I think how they introduced him being he who remains or whatever, where Kang will be a villain, and like to me, either they're trying to think that Ant-Man needs that kind of a glow up, or they're just not going to put that much into the first iteration of Kang in Ant-Man, because Ant-Man hasn't really tackled too many big villains.
Right.
To be honest, you know what I'm saying? He had his one little own villain. What was that? I didn't even think of his name. Whatever villain he had in the first movie.
Yep, I know who you're talking about. I don't know his
Yellow
name
Jacket
either.
or something like that. And then the second one, who was his villain in that one? He just pretty much
Phantom or Phantom, whatever.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't have a big villain. It just kind of he led the story. He kind of opened up the world of the quantum realms and all that kind of stuff to where now it kind of made sense to Infinity War, where we are time traveling.
There you go, Felicity.
Yeah, you know, and then you know what I'm saying. So Kang will be the first big notable villain that Ant-Man will have to technically go up against.
But will he though? See, because that's
the thing, right? Exactly.
Because that's the thing is like I see the Ant-Man movie as being more of the entry point to explain from a quantum realm perspective what Kang and the TVA and all of that piece. Right. I don't necessarily see it being a situation where he's gonna have to like handle that problem on his own. Like I see him more like getting like escaping by the skin of his teeth kind of thing. And playing that role kind of like he did in Endgame, where he's like, "Oh, I got to go let somebody know about this shit," something like that. To or he falls on the sword. And what I mean by that, maybe we say bye-bye to Ant-Man, because again, Ant-Man's one of those characters that I feel like is disposable in the sense that you could give him you could close his arc by sacrificing him. You know what I mean? Or maybe you don't sacrifice him. Maybe he gets lost in the quantum realm. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what happens to it, and you kind of leave it on a cliffhanger. Like either way. But I think that movie is going to be more so about furthering the plot with the multiverse and the quantum realm, and then it will be so much as it making or having Ant-Man showdown against Kang. Yeah,
because he's not a showdown against Kang character at all. So you got to kind of push the narrative on that. Maybe in the Nathaniel Richards version, and then show him becoming Kang or something like that. That would make better sense to me, because like Ant-Man's movies always end in that messed up kind of trope. You know what I'm saying? Like what in his movie wasn't he? That's when he got lost. Actually,
in the post-credit scene, that's where he got sucked into the quantum realm. Right.
So, yeah, like his movie's always the predecessor, the one that comes before the actual
before the shit hit the fan.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. So maybe we do get a time traveler Ant-Man. Maybe he goes, and it's kind of like a thing where he goes off into the quantum realm, and he ends up going into the future, and he sees what comes with Secret Wars, and comes back, and it's like, nah, man, y'all, I seen some shit. It could be a situation like that. Like you just don't. But I think. I think it would be wrong to go into Secret Wars thinking that, or not Secret Wars, into Ant-Man thinking that he is going to have a one-on-one with Kang. Yeah. Like I just don't see that. No, I don't see that at all. And to be honest, I think I'm gonna just say this. I don't think you'll see Kang really flex until we get whatever next team up movie we get. And he shows off against, because I think what they're going to do is kind of use Jonathan Majors in that role to show all of these different aspects of Kang, or these different versions of Kang. And I think they'll wait until the big movie to give us the Kang the Conqueror, like that Kang. Like they'll give us these other Kangs. We'll see like Nathaniel Richards maybe or something like that, where he's kind of building up to that. We see all of those pieces. I don't know which one we would necessarily get in this next in the Ant-Man. Probably the one that the He Who Remains that we see that ends up whichever version of Kang is the one that takes over the TVA in the multiverse that Loki ends up, or the universe that Loki ends up in at the end of the show or the end of the season. That's the one that I think we'll get in Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, you think it'll be the Endgame Kang? That one,
right? I think it'll be that Kang.
Maybe because it's kind of open-ended. Even though that ends with that Kang, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of hard to speculate on that, especially since they haven't really given us too many details,
right?
With Ant-Man to see where it's going.
Yeah, but I just feel like that would make the most sense, because you got to have I feel like you would have to have kind of a through line to what's going on, what's been going on, because I think I would even venture to say that because we know Loki is basically the Loki from the timeline of the first Avengers movie, not the Loki that died at the end of or at the beginning of the Endgame, because or Infinity War. I'm sorry. That is so the question I think you ask is, okay, so what timeline did Loki come back to when he realized the TVA had taken over? Because he left and went into the TVA and was dealing with that universe's version of the TVA. Did he come back to the same one? And if he didn't come back to the same one, did he come back to the one that, or let me ask the question this way. Did the TVA that came to get him at the beginning, was the TVA that came to get him at the beginning of the Loki episode, Loki season, the TVA from the MCU timeline that dropping shit that we know?
I would say the people are the same, but the directions then they may be under is different.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's the same people, or it's so okay. And what's my dude's name in the show? I can't think of.
So about Mobius or
Mobius, yes. So like Mobius, when Mobius comes and grabs, and when they come and grab him and they take him to the TVA, that universe might not it's outside of time, right?
Right.
So when he comes back, I guess my question is, when he comes back, is he coming back to the same point in that timeline? When he comes back, or when he goes back to the TVA, he's going back to the TVA, and now Kang is in charge. So does that mean now that the TVA, the previous iteration of TVA, no longer exists?
I don't know. So far for how I see it and understand it is, whatever happens in the timeline by the end of whatever secret war, battle world, whatever you want to call that war, whoever the victor is each time, it's kind of like, I would look at it as kind of like you have this room that is the main control room. It's the main control room.
Yes.
Okay. And in this room, you get to be he who remains.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be a main fight, and whoever wins that fight out of this, maybe there's iterations of you and I, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whichever team of us, if it's evil, more evil than the previous team that we had before, they get to sit in this main control room, and essentially they're the ones who can control the beings that is in the TVA. So that means they can essentially look like they didn't know anything about Loki being picked up, brought there by the end of the season when they were asking him, who are you? Where are you from?
Right.
Or any of that, because it seems as if there's a certain point in which that timeline ended, that Kang won, and he like reset the outside. So he where he is in that castle, whatever, that time that's like the center. That's like the ultimate area in which time does not undulate at all. He is at the end of it. So he can change what the people who are in the TVA are going to do in the timeline, what they prune, who they prune, why they prune. But that gets determined by that war. So it's instead of it's kind of like how they do with Windows. Each version of Windows that you got, all they honestly did was change the way it operated, but it still kind of looks the same, and it still has a lot of the same elements. Right. It's just either what those elements do are upgraded and or look different, but still a Microsoft product. So it's kind of like the same thing with Kang in a way. It's like it's still a Kang product, but depending on which Kang is in control, it depends on what that product will look like and do. If that makes any sense, instead of erasing it.
I see where you're going, but I guess my question is, okay, so Sylvie stabs Windows 7.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And then Loki goes back into the computer and realizes Windows 7 ain't there no more. Windows 8 is being run by whoever, by Kang. And it's like, okay, cool. So does that now mean that as far as the computer is concerned, Windows 7 never existed? And if so, then that means so you're trying to say that the TVA then is completely like oblivious. Right, but they're completely oblivious to anything that happened in that prior fucking software version.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah.
So then, okay. So that so then by that logic, then tying it back to the Ant-Man conversation, that means that if Ant-Man is to run, the only way that Ant-Man would run into the Kang that is in charge of the TVA would be if Ant-Man ends up at the TVA. Or if that Kang decides to go to Ant-Man's timeline for whatever reason.
That could be possible, but that doesn't mean that. That means that Ant-Man, if he runs into the Kang that is the one who was at the end of this iteration, that means he ran into him before.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm not talking about the one that was at the end. I'm talking about when Loki goes back to the TVA, Kang's head is on the TVA statue.
Right.
So that means that in that world, Kang is the head of the TVA. So that Kang, whatever iteration of that Kang that took over the TVA, that means that Kang was able to find his way out of the timeline to take over the TVA because the TVA exists outside of the timeline.
Okay, so now you're skipping some steps. So I guess that's where you're probably confused. So again, that fight is what's really important, and that's why I said with Goliath. So it's not him finding his way out of the timeline. That Kang is the version who discovered Goliath and then created the timeline. So the point in which Loki goes back to, you got to think like the TVA has already been created. Like the TVA is like the step before the end of the time, and at the end of time is where Kang is.
Right. No, where he who remains is.
Right. Yes, of course. So, again, so when Loki goes back after that version is killed, she pushed him back into the TVA. Then essentially you could think that Sylvie, that version of Sylvie is dead. Like that version of Sylvie doesn't exist anymore because she blew up and destroyed. It was destroyed where the timelines began to prune. So when he goes back, he sees he's technically at the end. So spoiler alert for him. It's not the pruning too much for him. He's already out the outside. There's already a new Kang. But they just haven't been instructed on which timelines they're going to prune to create the sacred timeline yet. So he is at the beginning of the start. It's a little confusing. I can see that.
Nah, it's a lot of confusing because my thing, I'm like,
new TVA. He's at the beginning of a new TVA that has not received the new instructions yet from the Kang that has taken over.
Who is though?
Loki.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I think I was basically the bottom line of this shit is Ant-Man is going to have to basically have some splaining to do. Yeah. In order to push the plot forward, Ant-Man won't be the resolution of his or you won't get a resolution between his encounter with Kang regardless. I don't think Ant-Man is going to destroy that version of Kang that he encounters. I think that version of Kang that he encounters is going to somehow be involved with the TVA. It'll be that Kang. And the reason I say that is because if you're going to go into the quantum realm, unless like somebody mentioned in the chat, unless Scott is going to be popping out in different areas in the timeline, like unless he's going to be traveling through the quantum realm and doing that, then I think that he's going to encounter Kang in the quantum realm. And I don't want to say that this was proven because I might be wrong, but I think the prevailing thought is that the quantum realm is a pathway to wherever or to the TVA, because the TVA exists outside of time and space. So right. Probably. So that exactly. So if that's the case, then I think because the show, it's called Quantum Mania. So he's going to basically travel into, I think, the quantum realm, and we'll get kind of that revelation. But that's where I come back to, and I think that's where it gets confusing for me, because I'm like, okay, well then if he shows up and Kang is in charge of the TVA, then all of this is happening like in the sense that now the timeline was essentially rewritten for even for Ant-Man or the universe surrounding Ant-Man, because it's like kind of like the same situation where Endgame, where he came back and was like, well, what the hell's going on here? So it's like for Ant-Man, he has the foreknowledge, but I think everyone else around him will just be operating like, what the hell are you talking about? It's always been like this.
Maybe, but I think the timeline's even rewritten for Kang. Like, I think he's sitting back feeling cocky that he'll be back in the same space being killed, but I don't think so entirely, because even he realizes that it takes two. You can't do that alone. That's why he wanted to end it the way he ended it. He's been doing it for that long. He wanted to give it off to two people, and essentially it was two people he created that were good, but
I don't even think that was the case. I think it was like the whole thing was, I think he, and this is going into a whole different conversation, but I think Kang told them exactly what he needed to tell them to get the exact outcome that he wanted.
That's hard to tell.
And yes, it's very hard to tell. But here's the thing. It feels like the Matrix Revolutions to me, right? And how at the end of the freaking movie, you sit there and the Oracle is talking to the architect, and he's like, you played a very dangerous game. And it's like, yeah, because she made an educated guess that by introducing the object or the concept of choice, that she would be able to manipulate humans into ultimately making this or facilitating the same chain of events that are needed to reboot the Matrix. Because that's essentially what happened. Was she basically found a cheat code to allow them to be able to reboot the Matrix without having to destroy Zion. And so what this feels like then with the Kang thing is like that Kang is essentially like by him getting Sylvie to kill him, he doesn't know for a fact that that's what they're going to do. Like, he doesn't definitively know that she's going to make that decision, because that's beyond the threshold of what he's able to see. But his hope is that that's what's going to happen, because I think that by her doing that, that's and creating all of these multiple timelines, that's what he knew that's what it was going to allow him to basically exert control across the newly created multiverse, because now there will be so many of him that he cannot be stopped. And so that's the bigger cycle of all of this shit that's been happening, because it's like, I feel like this is the same thing that he explained to her. It's the same thing that happened, but I think that Loki and Sylvie in previous iterations, whether it was Loki, it wasn't necessarily Loki and Sylvie that showed up there, but whoever it was that showed up there facilitated or didn't kill him. Like, something happened and they basically left him there. And this is the first time that the cycle changed, because Loki and Sylvie were variant. So that, and I think what it's been is that he has been waiting for somebody to come and break the cycle. I'm like Darth Chaos. I think it's been a cycle, and Kang is not even confident, or Kang is not even cognizant of the fact that even this iteration of the cycle is a part of the fucking cycle. Like that eventually this, because again, we already said it, right? Because we said eventually we think all of these multiverses are going to come back and merge into one timeline, right?
By Kang.
You think Kang is going to be the one to merge them all back into one?
I don't believe he didn't lie about that. He didn't lie about the fact that he's the one who merges the timeline. He lied about the fact on whether or not he is always going to be the one at the end, and he doesn't know if they're really going to kill him or not. But I believe it's true that if they kill him, it'll always restart the cycle. He said it was a cycle. That's not the confusion part. We know that at killing him restarts the cycle. And he says that when you do this, then I'm just going to figure out the multiverse again. I'm just going to meet all myself again. Mm-hmm. We're all going to fight again. But the only thing that he doesn't know for sure, which I think he told the truth, is which version of him is going to win. And the same things always wind up happening. But the only thing that may change is, okay, so like when they got this version of Kang, the things of the people who died, the people who got pruned, whatever the case, the bad things that happened that he decided to do, you could say like we think ourselves are good people, but we know we have to do some bad in order to make some of the more good
Right.
things happen. And so those choices that he made were probably on the good scale of, well, if I don't kill this or this happens, whatever, then this calamitous thing happens over here, so I can avoid it by blah, 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 blah. I think that there's different versions of Kang that's like, well, bump that. Shoot, why am I going to try to save these two people? Or I can just let all these people die. Whose problem is it? You know what I'm saying? So you'll just get a more malicious Kang, and or instead of actually having more good people, this Kang could allow more evil people. And then when they get to the same point all over again, when you get a more evil Loki, a more evil Sylvie, they're just going to kill him regardless. You know what I'm saying? So that's the cycle starts all over again. So I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like what the MCU tried to do was introduce Kang as He Who Remains, which means that you take out all the Kang the Conquerors, you take out all of the previous names period that he's had. This is just a Kang that has looked at what he's done, what happened in the timeline, and be like, well, I know that I want to break. I'd rather get up and live and just let this continue other than trying to get killed and restart the cycle, because I'm going to end up back here for millions of years all over again. And that's not to say that each Kang actually comes to that conclusion, but like you said, it may not be Loki and Sylvie again. It may be two other people and stuff like that. But I think that there hasn't been a version where he hasn't been killed, because this is a cycle. And if it wasn't a cycle, he wouldn't have known everything that happens to the point where he knows it's going to start all over again.
So all that in mind, then my question to you is, what the hell would be the point of the ending then? Because if you're going to get to the end and it's just going to restart all of it all over again, why the hell am I watching these movies?
So it's a story trope. So they do this. So it's like where we get to see the end is technically the beginning.
No, I get that, because I get what you're saying, the same concept. You're basically saying this is going to end up the same way Matrix Revolutions end up, where it's like,
it's different. Yeah.
We're basically we're resetting things all over again, but we're doing so in a way that gives us the ability to tell the story in a different way going forward.
Yeah, right. And
if that's what this is about to be, then I'm gonna say it on record right now. MCU is going to turn into pure and absolute trash. Because well, but it doesn't have to, in my opinion, though, because you can this is the same thing the same trap that I feel like the Matrix fell into, and that I feel like a lot of different IPs fall into. There is no part of the formula that says that you have to constantly, every time you crank up another iteration of something, follow the same trope or follow the same set of rules.
I agree.
You can divert. You could, just like with Star Wars, it was all about the Sith and the Jedi. You know, again, take it however you want it. But Rian Johnson tried to take the lid off of the shit and say, you know what? It's bigger than just like dark side, light side. Those are just two sides that are trying to manipulate this, like the Force, that's going to exist whether you look at it from the dark or the light perspective. It's going to be there. And so I think he fucked up, of course, in his execution, but he was essentially trying to bring Star Wars out of that continuous cycle of good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. And that's the thing that I feel like, and this is a whole deeper conversation, but that's the thing that I feel like where entertainment ends up telling on itself, because it always only gives you two options. You're either ending up good or you're ending up bad. There is no in between. You don't get a compromise. You don't get a happy medium. All you get is straight up either the villain, the hero has to vanquish the villain, or the villain is gonna get to live to fight another day so we can squeeze another sequel out of it.
Right.
And
in the end,
that to me is just, I'm at the point where it's like, at what point are they going to start treating the audience like the audience is smarter than they like to perceive we are, or
never. That'll never
happen. Exactly. And that's exactly why I said that's a whole nother conversation, because ultimately it comes back to, it's just setting you up for the next rotation.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I feel like this was their way of being able to split the timeline so they could be able to introduce other characters and be able to cut out having contracts. So I don't feel like the Secret Wars is going to end to the same way to where you get Kang at the end, all that. I think it's going to be completely different. I think they're going to start introducing the idea of the Secret Wars was not just Kang. That was that war. The next war is going to be Kang and like a gang of Richards and like all the Thors. Like you'll actually be able to do something like that now. And you'll have a person like Dr. Doom that wasn't a factor before. So, and I see somebody like Doom being the one to actually change the tide of the complete war to where it was always Kang to where it'll end up being Doom this time. And then that'll just be the way that they can reset, do whatever other new thing.
But my question, so my question to that is, so when we get to Secret Wars, however long away that is, do you think they're going to do a Secret War? Do you think that the main premise of Secret Wars will be that the multiverse is about to implode? Like that the multiverse as we have come to know it is at the threat of being completely wiped out.
It will. I think if they do that, it'll be on the most simplest level ever, like how they do with all the movies. Like the MCU's been taking the comics and all the complexities and just simplifying it down to the best they can. So I feel like if they do make it to where the multiverse is at some kind of stake to where it may implode, and the only way to fix it would be to make some kind of a singular timeline, it would just be their way of being able to say that we split the multiverse in order to make it possible to do all this other stuff, and now we just found a way to put it back all into one for this time being. But at the same time, I don't feel like if they did that, it'd be permanent still, because there's a lot of options and opportunity they have right now with having multiverses.
Yes,
I agree. Why they would implode it and it end that way. I would see it probably be like some kind of, there would be some way that they would fix it to where they'd keep a multiverse. I don't see that.
But that's exactly my point, and that's exactly my point, because in order to do that though, that means that at some point they're going to have to disrupt Kane's cycle.
Right.
And if Kane's cycle is that he, no matter what, is always getting killed, then that means that somebody's going to have to let him live.
Right.
That they, at that point, he cannot, they cannot kill him. My point is though, okay.
Or it gets involved around someone different. Unless it's,
yes, okay, or they end up destroying Kane so that it ends up cycling around someone else. Absolutely. Right. But so that's another possibility. But my point is that ultimately there's either two choices. They're either heading to a point where the universe is going to, or the multiverse is going to reset again, and you're going to get all of these multiverses which can converge back into one main timeline, i.e. it's the same shit just playing over and over again with a different set of characters. Or you say the end of it is them finding a way to continue the universe without resetting things the way that it has been for millions and millions of years. Which means, again, that goes back to, at that point, this cycle with Kane is gone. Like, it's done. Now, you say you believe him when he said, or he who remains at the end when he says he's tired and he wants somebody else to take over. Now, my thing though is I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like he realizes that because if he's as smart as he is, right, then he would know, or he would not, and it may not necessarily be he who remains, but one of those versions of Kane would be able to deduce that if he is not the one ultimately in charge or manipulating the events of the multiverse, that somebody could come along and make a change that would basically render him null and void. Because essentially, if he's not the one controlling the order or the sequence of events to take place, then somebody else could change something and to a point where Kang never ever emerges to be anybody of importance.
That could very well be something that happens in Loki season 2, because he is essentially the only person who knows that this is a reset.
Right. So my thing is, if that's the case, then that would mean, at least in my opinion, that dude wouldn't have wanted anything to change. Because if I'm Kang and I know that like if we go down this other path, that now I'm not going to get the opportunities that I was hoping I would get, then or that I not that I was hoping I would get, but that I know I would get once this whole cycle repeats itself, then I'm not gonna, why would I relinquish that? Unless, to your point, he who remains, and I guess it comes down to, like you said, whether or not you really believe that he who remains was being straight up when he told them he was tired and he wanted them to take over. Because I don't. I feel like what he was doing was baiting Sylvie into basically fulfilling her purpose or her role in that whole multiverse setup all over again. Because it's like Kang is like, okay, this is where, because it's like you come back, or she does that. Now he's a version of Kang is in charge of the TVA. We know that, you know, either that same Kang or another version of Kang is gonna be in the Quantum Realm, the Ant-Man movie. So it's like we know that like this is all basically to Kang's point. He's saying if you don't do this, then like all you're gonna do is restart this. But it's not a guarantee that the one of me that ends up here is this nice. Like it might be a savage motherfucker that come up here. Right. Exactly. But I don't think in my, what I'm saying is I don't think Kang really gave a damn that much. I think he really did want it, like as long as it's a version of him that's there, he doesn't care.
Well, on that, okay, so lightweight is one of two things on that. I do not disagree with you.
Mhm.
What I will say is it's to me it's a couple different things. It's either one, this version of Kang did it so long that he was like, all right, I'm tired. It would be better if I could pass it off to these two people who are the devil angel kind of trope, and hopefully they won't kill me.
Yeah.
Continue this, or they already got a contingency plan because if they kill me, then this is really going to happen. And how else would he know to make all this happen again, unless old girl we're forgetting about, I'm forgetting her name.
Yeah, the TVA chick.
He went back in time with some information from Miss Minutes.
Yep, that's true.
The contingency plan on that to make whatever Kang version win would be met up with Kang, because she's a love interest for Kang.
Yeah, of course. Yep, she ends up falling. Yep.
So unless the only other thing that makes sense on that to keep the cycle going, and that's only if like maybe Loki's the one who thwarts it somehow and figures out she's.
You know what I just thought about? Not to cut you off, but I just thought about something. How do we know that the TVA that was established in Loki season 1 wasn't run by Kang, or a version of Kang?
What do you mean?
So so we know that there, what was it? Whatever them 3 robots were.
Right.
The Holy Tribunal, or whatever you call them, whatever the timekeepers, them. Yes. We know that was a sham. Like we saw in the episode, that whole thing was like them. They were bogus, and we also know by nature of what happened with Miss Minutes and everything else that old girl was going to whoever was really in charge of the TVA, which we believe was Kang, was a version of Kang, possibly. Based on what we know about her character and her relationship with Kang, and the fact that she left to go so get her answers or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, by that regard, what I'm saying is, how do we know that wasn't Kang? That wasn't a version of Kang running the TVA then. He just didn't want anybody to know that, or it was, or no, I won't say, yeah, he just didn't want anybody to know that it was him. Like that version of Kang wanted to operate behind the scenes.
Right. That's
and not,
essentially what you got. You got that version not wanting to take credit for everything. He put it all on the timekeepers, and Renslayer is none the wiser that it's actually Kang.
Right.
She's never met him.
Yeah, she hasn't met him yet. No.
Right. And she's thinking whatever answer she's going to go get was information that was given to her by Miss Minutes that was actually passed down by he. Right. She don't know what Kang looked like or anything like that. She don't know the whole story.
No, I get that. Right. But what I'm saying is, so you're saying, okay, he who remains gave her that information to send. So this is a part, this is a part of, so then him giving her that again. Okay. So by that logic, then he had to have wanted Sylvie to kill him, because why else would he give Renslayer the information if it wasn't going to, if not to fulfill some part of this plan in order to facilitate these events? Because let's just assume that Sylvie doesn't kill him, right? So then what is the importance of whatever information he gave to?
If Sylvie doesn't kill him, then that means he knows the information that he gave Renslayer either wouldn't work, and he would have to go get her. The TVA and everything would still exist, and
Right. But
Kang
for the sake of
just travel, and whatever time that Renslayer was like, "Nah, I'm the one who gave you the info." Blah blah blah. It's done and over.
Right.
So
but for the
contingency,
stop it. But I don't think it was a contingency for the purposes of story. If we were talking about in a real world scenario, absolutely. But for the purposes of storytelling and writing, you wouldn't give that. You wouldn't have him do that. You wouldn't go through the point of doing that unless you were setting that up to be a plot thread to be explained later on.
It leaves it. I think what they're trying to do, which is a smart move considering the fact that you're moving into a multiversal type of element, is there are some things, like how we're sitting here talking about it, a little confused, don't have all the information. That has to be on purpose, because I think they put their foot in the mouth while trying to make a timeline so far ahead. Like, they have a timeline that's already supposed to be mapped out. And the only way that you can actually make something like that work is if you leave things like this ambiguated, so you can answer them later when you decide how you actually want the story to go.
Yeah, but so I see what you're saying, but I feel like this is not, if that's what they're doing, then this is going to bite them in the ass. Like big time, because
they know what they're doing. We don't.
I feel like they have to, in this, at least in this sense, with this piece of info, like with what they did in terms of how they set that up. I feel like this part they had to at least be solid on, in the sense that this version of He Who Remains had to understand what he was setting in motion, and be pretty confident that it was going to work out that way, because it has worked out that way time and time again. When so what I'm saying, even when he was at the point where he said they crossed the threshold and he doesn't know what's going to happen next, I believe he was telling the absolute truth.
Yeah. What's that?
But I think that's going to be the case every time they get to that point. And it's just a matter of, okay, with law of averages, again, same thing is like like I said, when I was saying it was like the end of the Matrix movie. It's like, yes, the architect doesn't really know when Neo shows up, or when the one shows up to talk to him, which one of those doors he's going to walk through. But the last 6 times or 5 times that he had that conversation, they walked through the door he expected, or that he was hoping they would, or that he designed for them to walk through. The Oracle was the one who facilitated the workaround, right? So then in this scenario, to me, He Who Remains is either the Oracle in this situation, meaning he's him tricking Sylvie into killing him, or him getting Sylvie to kill him, was like not his expectation.
Well, okay, so here it is. I'll fill it with what I think you're trying to say is, if he did this on purpose, if he knew Sylvie was going to kill him, he gave information to Renslayer for her to go back in time and be able to reset whatever the case, because he knows purposefully his goal is going to make Sylvie kill him, restart the timeline.
Yes.
Biggest purpose that would serve to anybody in that position is, they know they can go some odd years before they cross the threshold in which they don't have any more information, but they are able to compile and accumulate all the information that they have up to that point and experiment each time. So you could say that the Loki and Sylvie meeting and him giving him that offer to try to continue the timeline on what he built, that offer this time that we saw was an experiment in which he was probably sure was not going to work. And there were probably other things that he's changed besides that. So knowing he's going to die, he gives his information to Renslayer to go back to a previous version of him, and this starts the cycle, telling this version how to do everything up to the point in which he's about to get killed, while making these minute differences this time. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. So yeah, I see what you're trying to say. So you're like, okay, well, it worked out. So now you're going into like a live, die, repeat shit, where it's like, all right, we went through this version, and all of this shit happened. We still ended up here. This time, I'm gonna tell her ass to go left instead of going right, and we'll see how it works out. I can see that too.
Yeah.
I can see that too.
We need a different Kang to win. I can't win this time because my way didn't work. So let's go back and here's this info for this Kang, and maybe this Kang could go try. And whatever he's trying to work. So
to that point, what you're saying is that now I can see where you're coming from when you say he was telling the truth, because essentially he's like, God damn it, I got to go through this again. Well, let's make some small changes, because one of these times somebody finally gonna get me up out of here.
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that being the case. But again, then that comes back to, for me, then the story that they're telling is not that this is the same shit just done over, but that this timeline that we're watching and that we're exploring is the first one that'll be open-ended. So it's like this is the first time that all of these events are unfolding in ways that are kind of unexpected after a certain point. It's like before you had a path, or you had a blueprint, but now we operating because Kang has manipulated shit the way that he does. We're now operating without a blueprint. So that makes sense from the Kang standpoint. So when you scale that out, or when you zoom out and you think about Secret Wars, then, and the idea of there being the idea of the multiverse being in danger. When they come back to this new timeline, because that's what event that's, or it doesn't have to be a new timeline, but if going forward, the idea is that now the multiverse is permanent, whereas previously it was temporary. So because in the cycle that we've been talking about, the multiverse branches out only to be streamlined by Kang at like once everything plays out. That's kind of like the long story short of how he explained the shit with them. And they end up back to that point where somebody has to decide if they're going to kill him or not. And this whole thing starts over again. Cool. Well, then by going the opposite way with it, then that means that there won't be any trimming, like Dark Chaos said. So then what we're experiencing now is not just the birth of the multiverse for the MCU, but the establishment of the multiverse as a permanent entity. Because then they might, from that standpoint, they're not working to merge all of the timelines into one. This is going to be more of a scenario where, like, to the thought of, or to the more of the theme of what if, where now all of this stuff is popping off, but the watcher and whatnot doesn't know what to expect. Like, he's not necessarily, he's observing, but now things are happening kind of, and he doesn't know. It's unpredictable. Now I can see that making perfect sense, because then you ask yourself, okay, so then where could Marvel go after that? Right. Well, then that's when you blow. Say what?
They could easily remerge it too.
Yeah, you could either do it, or you could take it, you could turn it up to where you start talking about the Living Tribunal and going that far. Like going way out there to where now you start talking about, like, because at that point, who knows what level people are going to be into, you know, the MCU at that point, to where now you can start introducing all kinds of crazy cosmic shit and going like super deep into the comics, to where now you can start talking about things that like threaten the fabric of reality and whatnot, and that whole thing. So yeah, I see where it's going, but long story short, now that we've made our way full circle, what that basically means is that there's still a lot of this MCU shit to digest, man. Yes. And we are going to be here for every bit of it, as well as your DC, as well as your Star Wars, and even your video games.
Yeah.
Even if that means we talking 2K and GTA and Avengers and Crystal Dynamics and
Yeah.
the light at the end of the tunnel though is that there are some dope ass games coming. Hopefully, we'll get to talk some game and news and not have to shit on something for a change.
Right.
Dan Flashes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we don't do that here.
I mean,
we can talk some Halo, but I ain't.
If I can play it on PC. I'm not playing it on Xbox.
I'm not
PC.
going to get an Xbox for that. And to be honest, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to play Halo. I'm not. I'm just not that. First person shooters just ain't for me, man. And Halo especially. Like, I was scarred with Halo 2. I will never play Halo again.
Oh.
I
like first person shooters.
No,
like I said,
I don't like them at all, said Sam. I am.
If I could, well, okay, so Halo, I guess I get what you mean when you say first person shooter. It's a straightforward, there's no deviation, extra people to meet, blah blah blah. It's not an open world type deal. So as a strict first person go through storyline game.
Well, no, I just mean first person shooter from the standpoint of the UI. Like, I can't stand when I can't see my character and I'm just looking at the damn gun the whole time.
Do you play Fallout in third person?
Yes.
Oh, I can't do
I
it.
play Fallout in third person always.
I do it like it depends on the occasion, but no, it's not always.
No,
like,
every now and then I'll go into first person in Fallout when it makes more sense from a gameplay standpoint. Like if I'm doing, but let me tell you like this: whenever I'm in combat, no, if I'm in combat, I'm in third person. Yes.
Oh my god, I can't do it.
I'm in third person the entire time. Yes, I'm like,
wow.
Well, but and plus I'm more of a VATS user anyway. Like I don't necessarily free aim. I use VATS like pretty much anytime I'm shooting. So I'm more of a VATS user. So I don't know, man. I guess that's the like 16-bit person in me. I'm just used to like I never got into first person, bro. Like I just couldn't do it. Like whether it's Call of Duty, Halo, any game that doesn't give me a third person perspective, I can't. Like I'm like, nah, bro. I can't
even play Need for Speed games in third person. Like
now Need for Speed is the exception. When I play Need for Speed racing games, I'm in first person. I can't drive. I can't drive third person. Like I am terrible at racing games if you force me to drive in third person.
I'm not terrible at it, but like the only way I can third person in a video game or a driving game is if I have to drift. That's the only time.
Yes, thank you. Yes, if I'm drifting, give me third person. Yeah. But if I'm not drifting, bro, like no, I need to be able to see the whole road. Yes, everything.
It's different when you drive third person and you're just trying to race. The reaction time is different.
Yes, everything is different, man. Because like you can't judge curves the same way. You can't approach turns the same. Like I need to be able to see exactly how much room I have to cut that turn, man. Like I'm. That yes, so for racing games, bro, 1000% on that. But action adventure games, man, like that's another reason. Like, what is it, Borderlands? I think that's first person like that. That's why I don't fool with Borderlands or Far Cry. Like, people like, oh, you missing out. I'm like, bro, I just can't do first person games like that. Like, I tried Destiny, bro. I couldn't get into Destiny for that reason. I just don't like it, man.
So, I don't know how to look back. I think Destiny 2 allows you to do third person.
It allows you to do third person, I think, when you're not in combat. Like when you're off world and you're in
the actual combat.
Yeah, when you're actual combat, that's first person. But when you go to like bases or whatever and you're just like milling around, I think you can be in third.
I'll have to check with Destiny 2.
I mean, and I could be wrong because I played it for about 2.5. So I don't. Yeah,
the first one.
Well, I had both because I had, shout out to my homie Jake. He kept pushing me to get both of them. So I got the first one, but I bought it like by the time I got it, everybody was all like max level and wasn't nobody playing anymore. So then when 2 came out, I grabbed 2 like right when it came out, and I was playing it with the homies, but I just couldn't get into it, bro, because I can't get into. It wasn't enough to do in that game right off the bat. I don't mind games where you gotta grind your character level. Like I love that, but it has to be interactive enough for me to enjoy it, or immersive enough for me to enjoy it. Like Division, even 2K, I give 2K all kind of shit, but if all I had to do, or if the most rewarding part of the game was leveling up your player and actually getting rewarded for that, 2K would be perfect for me. But what kills me is I'm leveling up my character in 2K to go play in a game mode that no matter how good my character is, I'll never be competitive in. Like, just because I don't have the amount of time it takes.
Right. You don't have enough man-hour time to do
No,
that.
you gotta have that. It's gotta be a part-time job, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say, there's too many people who either do have a part-time job or no job at all is playing.
Well,
that
here's
damn
the thing, bro. And this is like, if you anybody that plays 2K knows this. If you play online, it is unreal how many of these motherfuckers on 2K that play online have YT in they handle. Like, all of these cats is YouTubers. They all are aspiring YouTubers. So they like sitting at home playing this game 12 hours a day. I ain't got 2 hours a day to give to 2K. So imagine I'm getting out there trying to hoop with these dudes that know every dribble move, every combination, every exploit online. Like, they know all the stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like I could bust my character. My character's at a top rating on 2K is a 99. My character is a 96 right now and got 106 badges, which is basically like player boost. And I can't sniff online.
Man, Jared, you better leave that 2K alone. Better keep living your life. Better stay disappointed with me on the Avengers. Don't let 2K,
man.
Don't let 2K ruin your life. Avengers won't ruin your life. You won't get too absorbed in it. And by the way, Jared, I hit your ass up on Discord like a week ago trying to see if you wanted to play. You played me to the left. You didn't answer.
But yeah, man. You say we get into these since we promised these commercials, man.
Yeah,
we roll these commercials and then we roll up out of here, man. I got about 15 minutes before Saturday turns into Sunday. I'm still trying to turn up a little bit before I go to bed.
That part.
Yes, sir. Well, like we always say here.
Yes, sir.
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. For the homie Lavis B, it's your boy Freddie Roy, and we gonna catch you
in the next episode. Hey. Jared, I didn't get that message from you, Mayne. Let me check.
In a minute they'll play. I promise you they will. I swear. I'm just ready to get this whole damn thing done. Because now I realize, look, behind the scenes, this damn update, it changed everything. It changed everything.
I see.
Here.
I see.
You. That's all I wanted it to do was that. Now, play the damn commercial.
Play it.
We gon' snazz it up with that purple drink. We gon' razz it up. We gon' snazz it up. We gon' jazz it up with that purple drink. We gon' razz it up. We gon' snazz. Huh? What? Really? Oh, dang. It sucks having to go home after making a purple drink commercial. People call your names.
Whatever, asshole.
Even walking down the street looks bleak. Look at this. I even got a ticket. Ugh. Traffic sucks. Man, nothing seems to go right. When I get home, My wife look like she about to beat my ass.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you better get that damn purple drink money too. Better bring that home.
So I sit down at the table. She still know what I need. Some of that purple drink. Oh yeah. There's a new tune after that. Hook it up, snazz it up with that purple drink.
Burning the meat, what? Oh, we got watermelon for the
Nothing
black
unites
barbecue.
family like a good bottle of sauce to go with your great summer barbecue.
Who made the same salad?
Al's Sauce has been known to bring people of all colors and creeds together in the spirit of barbecue.
Sauce. Oh man, that's too much sauce. Never. Shut up, motherfucker.
Bring it over for a good time, whether you're black, white, it doesn't matter.
Hey, that chicken ain't done, man. Time to be.
If you ain't got the sauce, then that's your
Oh
loss.
man, Domino, mother.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, we out of sauce.
Yeah.
Man, this ain't no sauce.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Oh, well, you dusty bastard. Al sauce is made with the best ingredients this side of the Mississippi. If you're gonna give me something, it's gotta be the sauce.
This made in New York City?
If you ain't
You
got the
ain't got the
sauce,
sauce.
That's your loss.
here's the sauce made with the best you ever seen in your life. If you ain't got the sauce, then motherfucker, that's your loss.
Greetings, humans. I am Optimal Prime. We are here to tell you we support the Mayne Authority. Like, subscribe, join the Discord, support on Patreon. We are the Mayne Authority. We are here. We are the Authority. Remember, Maynes, go get that bag. Autobots, let's roll up.
The Force will be with you, always.
Hey man, y'all sure y'all don't wanna like burn one first, man? Why did you say that name? You hear about the cable?
What is thy bidding, my master?
Ask God.
Forever, forever, ever. Forever, forever, ever.
This is the way. This is the way.
Why did you say that name?
This is the way.
Come on, man.
I am a god.
Hey man, y'all sure y'all don't wanna like burn one first, man? Come on, man. On with you, man. On with you, man.
Ask God.
Be careful what you wish for, Parker.